I want to bring this conversation to a sexual point of view.
Right.
You know, we started by talking about this guy, Egg Bang. I don't want to botch his name.
Yeah.
But like
the Guinea
now
guy.
the girl, now the lady who was documenting herself, having sex with multiple men. I know in this conversation, when it comes up like this, it might come from a competitive point of view, like if women can do it, men can do it. But how do you truly feel about, sexual liberation?
Yeah.
Do you feel like this situation is ideal? Do you feel like a woman doing such things is like freedom and liberation and she knows herself? Or do you have thoughts that this is exactly what the patriarchy wants us to do and they are pulling strings at the back so that we can participate in this derogatory stuff? Because at the end of the day, we're never going to win.
No, you're not.
As long as you're under patriarchy as a woman and you decide, I can do this derogatory stuff better than men.
Yeah.
It already puts you in a box like, ni ngumu kukutetea kidogo, lakini, yes, tunataka ukwe free, lakini maybe we can do it in other ways.
Yeah, or like so don't record.
Tell me how you feel about that. Tell me how you feel about, sex. Is women having sex with anyone and anyone more of a liberation, or is it just us trying to compete with these dogs in nasty stuff? Pigs with playing in the mud. That's the best analogy.
What I would say is men and women, at the heart of it, we're both human beings and we're both sexual beings. The same way a man can have their own sexual fantasies and sexual, hiatus and stuff, is the same way a woman can have the same.
Yes.
So the notion of now apparently the woman being liberated, for me, is sort of again under the patriarchy. You understand?
It's still like we're asking for permission.
Yeah, because why is it liberation when I'm having sex?
It's just
when
normal.
It's just sex at the end of the day. Everything that you say, it's liberating. It's because you're going outside what is expected of you. It's like being child-free. It's women empowerment. It's women liberation.
But it's just normal.
It's just because why is it a big deal then?
I'm just a human being who doesn't want kids, and that's it.
Yeah. So why are we calling it liberation? Why are we saying that me choosing to have sex with 1,000 people is liberation? But at the same time, I am also Christian, and that holds like a lot of. It brings also a lot out in me in terms of like my thought processes as well, but I'm not blind to the fact that there's Christianity, there's religion, and there's real life. So you'll be told not to have sex until marriage, and you'll find that it's only for the women, where women are mostly considered virgins. And for me, virginity is a social construct.
Like a social construct.
It is.
It's just a thing.
It's just a thing where, because they say apparently now when you break your hymen, it's to lose your virginity to a man.
Yes.
You understand? But at the end of it, I can lose my virginity, or I can break my hymen. I can go horse riding, I can ride a bike, and I can break my hymen. So what does that mean then? I broke my virginity. All of this to a bike.
Because it's like it has to be tied to this masculine energy.
Exactly. It has to
be
to exist. Exactly.
Or recognized.
Exactly.
The same example you gave with like Mrs. and Miss.
It has to be, where's the man in this so that it can make sense? So for me, it's just that whole concept of liberation is still the effects of the patriarchy. They want you to know that you're going against the patriarchy.
Back end.
Yeah, and that's why you're feeling liberated.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, it's if it was normal, then I don't think I would be saying I'm liberated.
Yeah.
You understand that, right?
Because men don't say that. Men don't say I broke my virginity.
No, they don't.
I lost my virginity.
To who?
I
Exactly. But like I was saying, in the Bible, you'll hear a lot of, don't have sex until you're married. Don't have, and that's actually where I stand, like in this place of just don't have sex right now unless you're sure that you want to have sex, unless you're certain that you want to have sex, unless you're ready to deal with the consequences of having sex. When you place all of that on the table and you know, it's like a tick box. Yes, I'm ready for this. Yes, I'm ready for that. Then you can by all means have sex. Because a lot of the times we have sex, even in relationships, you'll find people are just like, this man might leave me because I want to be celibate, or I'm just not ready. So you just end up, you know,
or you're just having sex because you have a boyfriend.
Yeah, and you think it's normal. That's what people do. And that's what people
when you're
do.
In a relationship,
they have sex. No, it's not right. You're the only one who can write the script of your life, nobody else. And no one holds your destiny in their hands. So I just think, don't rush to sex, especially for a woman. Biologically, there was a study that was saying women produce oxytocin when they're having sex.
The bonding hormones and the happy hormones. Yeah.
Sort of like what is released when a woman is giving birth. And then a man just releases dopamine. So it's just the happy hormone that you're out of this world.
It's just a normal
you're excited, you know? So even biologically, we're not the same. Our sexual experiences can never be the same. So I feel like as a woman, you have a lot more to do in terms of protecting your emotional stability, your emotional health, your mental capability. We don't exactly always, in that moment, you might not even have the emotional bandwidth to figure out, fine, I'm having sex, but how am I going to feel after? Will I be proud of myself? Will I be happy with the decision that I've made? Because once you have sex, you can't undo it. And it's not something to, hover around your head. Just move on. But take care and think about it. The work is ours. Yes, the work is yours.
They could wake up and go, but Sisi, you have to think about CGE pills.
That's it.
CGE P2. CGE, has he called you because you're anxious
You're anxious,
because your emotional health, your mental health, now you're itchy. Is it a yeast infection or gonorrhea?
Am I sick?
Because women show more, symptoms faster than men. Then us, we still have to go to the hospital. Yeah,
and there's the shame, because how do you go to the hospital and say,
I have what?
There's something going on down there. Everyone is going to look at you like,
and then they don't
how
go by
fucking
the way.
Irresponsible.
Even with the statistics of like STIs and HIVs, you'll see the numbers varying, because they'll say, 80% of the people tested positive for syphilis are women. And then we're here saying, it's women who have syphilis. No, bro.
They didn't
men
get
are
tested.
Not going to the hospital. And the women are, sorry to say, sometimes only going because of prenatal stuff. So I think it's your fear equal.
And let me tell you, it's so important to be tested and to keep yourself safe when it comes to sex. I was talking to a gynecologist and she was telling me about the IUD. It's perhaps becoming the most popular form of contraception, because it's a one-time thing and you're good to go. It's non-hormonal. One of them is non-hormonal. But she was saying the risk of having this IUD is that you need to know that you have a faithful partner and you're only keeping one partner, because the moment you get an STI and you have this IUD, it's a direct link to your ovaries and you'll damage your ovaries, and that's the end of you having kids. The only thing we can do is just manage the infection, but once your ovaries, your tubes are damaged, that's it. And that's what I'm saying. Take your sexual health and sexual responsibility upon yourself. If you want to have sex and you genuinely want to use a condom, and this man is not willing to use a condom, he's not the only man you can have sex with. There's plenty of other people to have sex with. But for someone who is maybe under pressure to have sex and they're not ready, and maybe for them they feel like they genuinely want to wait for marriage, just keep at it. There's nothing you're missing out on. There's nothing you're missing out on. No, there's nothing.
Lose out.
No, there's nothing you're missing out on. And one thing people don't realize is, if you go by biblically what it was, perhaps what God was trying to say, because sex is God's idea. He created sex, so how is it a bad thing? So he said, perhaps don't have sex until you're married. There's a reason as to why perhaps they saw it fit.
And the older you get, you understand.
The older you get,
you start seeing, and sex is a responsibility.
It is a responsibility.
Yeah.
And one thing people don't know is the self-control that you have, or you need to cultivate during your single years before marriage. It's the same self-control you need when you're married, when you get into marriage.
So you're just doing practice. You're just practicing self-discipline.
Yes, because I can't be having sex today with anybody and everybody.
Then when you get married,
you expect, no. That's not how the
Because
human
that's
brain
who you
works.
are, yeah.
That's not how the human brain works.
That's so
I can't
true.
be at a club every fucking day, and then when I get married, I expect not to be at a club.
Now I'll change.
No, you can't change what you are. And I think that's why I think for me, I've just chosen to keep it that way, because I don't think I'm missing out on anything.
You aren't.
And the dating scene, or let's say the sex scenes in this Nairobi,
crazy.
I can't handle just one day walking into a hospital and I'm told you're sick. I don't know how I would handle that.
Yeah.
I can't. And then it's always hard on the woman.
Always.
If you get pregnant,
You
it's
suffer
still
the
harder.
biggest.
Yeah, it's still hard on you. You're the one who'll stop your life. You're the one who'll have the stretch marks, the growing belly, the sagging belly.
Death is a possibility.
Girl.
It just keeps getting
And what does
worse.
the man do? Nothing. He's just fine.
He will be told ongera, and then he'll have a new girlfriend in 3 months.
Yeah.
After
3 months
you're
is
gone.
a long time. When you're pushing, he's Katiaing the nurse.
Oh my goodness. This is so true.
Think about it that way. You're doing to
Yeah.
benefit this man when you're having sex. Maybe you don't even want it. You're doing
Maybe
it
you
to
don't
benefit.
even ejaculate.
Yeah.
Maybe you don't orgasm.
Maybe you don't even feel good.
Yeah.
But you just need to do it because you're in a relationship, and that's what you've been told people need to do, have sex. So if you don't do it, he's going to find someone else. And so what?
If he wants to find someone else, then that's exactly what he had planned to do from the beginning. And there's nothing you can do to change such a person.
You can't.
You can't sleep with someone enough to make them stay.
You can't. It's like having a child hoping someone will marry you. That's crazy.
And the crazy thing is actually, unajua hii stuff ni deep conditioning. Ni vitu tumeona mashosho zetu akifanya, auntie zetu, mama zetu. Alafu ni sisi mademo saizi, now we are trying to change everything, and it's bringing a bit of
we're shaking the tables.
Yeah, because I started talking about casual sex about 2, 3, 4 years ago, and that's when now the word situationships was starting to form, where it was a big thing where everyone was like, situationship, I'm in a situationship. And I used to ask women, what are you benefiting? Okay, fine.
You're in a situation.
Sawa, amazing. What's the benefits? What's the pros of this situation that you're in? And I had so many women tell me, sometimes women also just want sex.
Yeah.
And that's it.
And that's
there's
fine.
Nothing wrong with it.
No.
And I would say, okay, yeah, agreed, fine. But when it comes to the consequences of after sex, you're not your biological makeup, venye tumesema, is not like the man.
It's not.
So let's not pretend you're not going to fall in love with this man after you sleep with him. Whether you like him or not, whether you like, whether there was anything going on, you start bonding after sex. You will start asking yourself questions like, why hasn't he called me this week? And it could be a guy you don't even want anything from.
You don't even like this nigga.
But just the fact that you guys have had sex, it makes all
some
these
sort
things
of attachment.
start happening. And I imagine mpaka sahi, 4 years later, I'm still trying to figure out what exactly is the benefit, because I feel like sex is not really a benefit to women, given the fact that women are not even enjoying sex.
And it's so sad.
Yeah.
It's so sad. I think if you're having sex, you need to be having high quality sex. It needs to blow your mind.
But how are you going to have high quality sex with someone who does not even want... the reason they call it casual...
Yeah.
For us women, we have a different definition of situationship. It's like a guy who cares about you,
but we're not committed,
but it might get somewhere in time. But to men, that's just the girl I bang.
Yeah.
Once a week. Nothing else, nothing more.
And he probably has a wife, and he probably has a girlfriend.
Other girlfriend.
Yeah.
So if someone doesn't have the capacity to hold you in friendship, You know, ingekuwa casual sex inamaanisha he cares, you know, he's investing maybe in a friendship, he cares about
like even your own sexual health.
Exactly, about your sexual health, about your safety, about your mental well-being, about your emotional health.
Yeah.
These guys don't sit
They
and
don't
ask
give a
you,
shit.
how do you feel after sex? They don't do that. They sleep with you and then they ignore you so that you can go crazy. And I've been told I've been told by men.
Yeah.
The part where they discard you is not intentional. It's not I'm leaving Muyu. I want to have sex with Muyu and then I leave her. It's just a normal day to them. Ni sisi tuna overthink. As in yeye ni normal day. Ameamka leo.
You see what I'm saying?
Now go on about their day. We are the ones who sit there thinking, yani he's posting on IG and
he
not
texted me good morning
me
with a blue heart and not a pink heart and not a red
Exactly.
heart. What does that mean?
Does it mean he doesn't like me anymore? You know, you start overthinking.
Yeah.
So to them, while they're just having a normal, casual Tuesday,
he doesn't even remember you guys had sex.
Because it was just sex. So what exactly? Nangoja bado man. Maybe you guys can tell me in the comments. Yeah. Tell me what exactly is the benefit of this situationships, and because there is no casual situation I have. What is even casual about my vagina?
Right?
What's casual about
you need to worship it,
bumping and touching each other?
There's nothing casual about it, honestly.
You know, so I'm. You guys should tell me.
Tell us in the comments. Maybe we are wrong.
Maybe kuna benefits na ni
and as we don't know, but we'll tell you if they are. But for now.
Oh my goodness, you've really brought about a different perspective of things. I've learned so much from you in this conversation that I hadn't thought about it in that way. I'm not as radical as I should be. I'm not as in there as I think I was.
Question everything.
Yes.
That's what I say. Question everything. I have an uncle, my dad's brother. He questions everything. I learned so much from him. Because he told me, like, the first thing, I think I was like 13. He was like, so how many days are there in a year? 365 or 366. And how many weeks were you told are in a year? 52. Is that math making sense to you?
It doesn't. And then now everyone is confused. Oh my God. This has been Heartfelt with Bobby on DWJ, and my lovely guest was Muyu today. You guys, this conversation has blown my mind, like all the conversations we have here.
Yeah.
If you have any opinions, any questions, anything you want to say, if you want to buy Muyu a car and a house, and you know, if you want if you want to, you know, endelea this conversation with us, please drop your comments and you can
keep it respectful.
Yes. Follow us on social media. My handles are Roberta Bobby everywhere. And Love and Orgasms. Check out my blog and my podcast. Maybe share with us where people can find you.
So I'm not so active on social media.
Yeah.
I was, but now I'm not.
If he wants to buy you a car, where is he finding you?
This is my Instagram handle. Let me just confirm. mk.muyu. I was going to say WhatsApp. I'm losing my mind.
WhatsApp
I know.
Atatuambia kando. So thank you guys for staying with us throughout this hour, watching, listening to us. Tell us what you think. We'd love to hear from you.
Yes.
And until next time,
bye.
Toodles.